I feel very comfortable saying that Howard Lutnick is a pathological liar who is enabling the most egregious cover-up in American history.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick was on Capitol Hill today to testify about his relationship with late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. That the pair were in business together as recently as 2014. Before those revelations, Lutnick had maintained he cut off contact with Epstein in 2005.
Read the document in full. You will see Howard Lutnick use phrases like how it's inexplicable and unsettling that he went to the island. That's how he defines it himself. It's inexplicable how this happened. He also tries to define all of their interactions as quote unquote meaningless and inconsequential. I think he's used those terms about 20 times. There are real victims here. There are potentially over 1,000 women who were abused and raped when they were children. And even at the bare minimum, Howard Lutnick was aware of these things. He knew.
Yo, I'm Justin FREAKIN. Right-wingers keep trying to mock me for my sub and view count on YouTube, so I guess I'll be a good content creator and do what the algorithm gods demand and tell you to like the video. Or dislike it for all I care. I know I'm not a very likable personality. But if you do enjoy the vibes around here, be a good subby and seduce that subscribe button. And if you want to find out what that news be doing Sunday through Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific on the Troll Patrol Live, then be sure to hit that bell the way I would hit the bong. The Commerce Secretary testified in front of, or gave his deposition earlier today. I guess leaders from the House. I don't know if there were any senators present. Gave his deposition on the Epstein files.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick was on Capitol Hill today to testify about his relationship with late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The House Oversight Committee's closed-door hearing focused on revelations in the Epstein files that the pair were in business together as recently as 2014. The files also revealed Lutnick met several times with Epstein, including in 2012 when he and his family had lunch with him on his private island in the Caribbean. Before those revelations, Lutnick had maintained he cut off contact with Epstein in 2005. He has denied any wrongdoing. CBS News congressional correspondent Nicole Killian joins me now. Nicole, what do we know about today's testimony? Did we learn anything new?
Well, we learned a bit more about the interactions that Secretary Lutnick had with Jeffrey Epstein. He described 3 incidents in particular, according to a source familiar. Keep in mind that Secretary Lutnick,
it was closed-door testimony, but not a deposition,
was neighbors with Jeffrey Epstein in New York, lived near him, and so his initial contact with him was visiting his home with his wife. At that time, he said that he saw a massage table. Apparently, that made him feel uneasy, so he made the decision going forward that he wouldn't have any type of professional or personal relationship with him. However, with the release of the Epstein files, we have learned that he did maintain contact well after that period. In fact, visiting Jeffrey Epstein on his island in 2012. It was a family lunch that...
Exactly. His excuse was, I took my family. I took my kids to Pedophile Island. So I can't possibly be guilty because I took my kids to Pedophile Island. It's the wildest defense I've ever heard.
He told the panel today that made him feel a bit unsettled, or it was unsettling to him being invited to that lunch. And then subsequent after that encounter, he met with Jeffrey Epstein, where they discussed some home renovations, some scaffolding in Epstein's foyer. So that is what we learned. Now, of course, many Republicans feel that the secretary was being very transparent here, but Democrats did take issue with parts of his testimony, particularly where he said that he would cut ties with Epstein and then later ended up on his island years after the fact. Take a listen to a conversation that I had with one oversight Democrat, James Walkinshaw.
He went on a podcast and said that after visiting Epstein's townhouse with his wife, he decided Epstein was so gross that he never wanted to be in the room with him again. When the files were released, we learned that he was in the room again with Epstein not once, but twice. So I have a real problem
that we know
with a
of.
member of President Trump's cabinet willing to flat out lie to the American people. And it obviously begs the question, if you're willing to lie about that, what else are you willing to lie about?
So many Democrats on the
That
panel,
we
including
know of.
Congressman Walkinshaw, say they believe that
Now let's go to Democrat Representative Ansari. This is Representative Ansari calling Howard Lutnick a fucking liar.
I feel very comfortable saying that Howard Lutnick is a pathological liar who is enabling the most egregious cover-up in American history. We have now gone through the timeline of events with him in detail, in excruciating detail, from when they met in 2005. This is Howard Lutnick and his wife meeting Jeffrey Epstein. He described it himself in great detail on a podcast last year where he said that they went to his home, they took a tour, and allegedly were so uncomfortable after seeing the massage tables in Jeffrey Epstein's home that Howard Lutnick went on this podcast to tell the American people that he himself, and my colleagues referenced the definitions he tried to change of what he meant there, but he said that he would never socially or professionally be involved or be in a room with Jeffrey Epstein again. Then in 2012, he took his family and his staff to Jeffrey Epstein's island. I focus my questions today on how he could have done that if him and his wife were truly so uncomfortable, especially when in 2008, we know that Jeffrey Epstein was accused and the sweetheart deal took place for soliciting a minor.
He was convicted.
Howard Lutnick tried to tell us in that room that he essentially didn't know any of that. I asked him, how did I, as a child at the time, see this all over the media about Jeffrey Epstein, and you, an adult who was this person's neighbor who had engaged with him before, how could you possibly not have known? I mean, the level of the lies that are taking place inside that room without video is unbelievable and part of this egregious cover-up. I recommend that every single American, when this interview is released, read the document in full. You will see Howard Lutnick use phrases like how it's inexplicable and unsettling that he went to the island. That's how he defines it himself. It's inexplicable how this happened. He also tries to define all of their interactions as quote-unquote meaningless and inconsequential. I think he's used those terms about 20 times so far and continues to use them.
I know anytime I go to a well-known pedophile's island, just inexplicable how I showed up there, how I flew from the United States, going through customs, I assume. It's kind of a big deal. It's just inexplicable.
So I will just end by saying that there are real victims here. There are potentially over 1,000 women who were abused and raped when they were children. And even at the bare minimum, Howard Lutnick was aware of these things. He knew. It just demonstrates the culture of enabling these crimes and allowing rich and powerful people like Jeffrey Epstein and all of the other disgusting rich and powerful men who committed these crimes.
Oh, he sold his yacht. He probably didn't have to go
Like
through
Howard
customs
Lutnick
and shit.
knew
Fuck
these
me.
things were happening because they were all over the news and continued to engage and legitimize somebody like Jeffrey Epstein.
Like one it and click one back on one more click. Over hit the set an alert when that shit goes live. Social fucking support and hit subscribe. Light one up and take a hit. He does no harm, but it takes no shit. He's the last one standing when the ship is sinking. Let's take another rip for Justin Freakin.
Light one up, tip one back. I'm Justin Freakin.
Not high enough for this shit.